Well, thank you, Devin. World Leprosy Day is observed on the last Sunday of January, and that just happened a few days ago, so we felt it was fitting to talk about leprosy.
Absolutely, and here to tell us a little bit more about it, Nurse Christina Paris is joining us now. Thanks for coming on in this morning.
Good morning.
You made it through the snow.
I did.
Yeah,
It's snowing a little out there, so yeah, be careful.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about leprosy and how it's transmitted, please.
Absolutely. So one, I didn't know leprosy was even still a thing.
Same.
But apparently it is. And unlike what we read about maybe in biblical or historical writings, it's not nearly as contagious as we once thought or we read about. In fact, and it's curable also. So it is a mycobacterium, which is very similar to what we see in tuberculosis. That's also a mycobacterium. And so, of course, fitting that the treatment for this is one of the medications we use to treat tuberculosis.
So are there like specific symptoms that maybe you should watch out for with this?
There are, and while it's not prevalent here, places like California, Florida, Louisiana, places where they get a lot of people from overseas or from different countries where maybe leprosy is more prevalent. That's where we're gonna see it. But last year there was 185 new cases.
Oh.
So yeah.
That's just in the United States?
That was just in the United States, you're right, yep. And so some of the symptoms that you might see, especially if you do travel down to places like Florida or California, and you come back, it is a skin bacteria, and it will have discolored patches, and it does affect the nervous system, which kind of made me think of shingles, because shingles does that too. It affects the nervous system. But you'll have growths on your skin, might be flat, you might have even thick or rough skin in that area. You can get painless ulcers on the soles of your feet, maybe painless swelling or lumps to your face, earlobes. And again, because it affects the nervous system, you can get numbness to those areas of the skin too, or muscle weakness or paralysis, eye problems, blindness, stuffy nose, because it gets into the mucosa of your nose and mouth. You can get nosebleeds and stuff. But the big thing is, we used to think that it would, that your limbs could fall off, your ear could fall off.
Goodness.
So it's not a flesh-eating bacterium. So that won't happen. But if untreated, you can get paralysis to your hands, your feet. It can cause blindness, things like that. So you do want to go in. And there's 3 medications, just similar again to kind of with tuberculosis. There's quite a few medications you have to take to kind of get rid of this bacterium. And it doesn't spread easily. In fact, 85% or 95% of people, according to the CDC, can't even catch it. So they're just naturally immune to it. And you would have to be around somebody and live in close quarters to catch it. One-time exposure, a couple exposures, being around, touching, shaking hands, hugging somebody with this you're not gonna catch it that easy. So that's good.
So when it's cold and flu, COVID season, it's not gonna also be cold, flu, COVID, RSV, leprosy season.
Right, we're not going to add that too.
That's good to know that at least. All right, so do people with leprosy need to be isolated from others if they do find out they have it?
So no. Well, no, you don't, because it's not very contagious. But you would definitely, once you start that treatment, after 2 days, you're no longer contagious.
So that's good.
So once you start the medications, And like I said, it's not a flesh-eating bacterium. I know that was another misconception, and it's not as contagious, and your limbs don't fall off like we had read about in historical times. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly a positive for modern day leprosy, I'd say.
Actually, and I forgot to mention that they do call it Hansen's disease. So they no longer really use the term leprosy as much anymore. I think because of the stigma around it. So
thousands of years of stigma could do that.
So it's been changed to Hansen's disease.
Interesting.
Yeah, modern day leprosy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's nice to know, even though it's not too common, but I mean, you never know. It could
No.
still happen.
Right.
Rarities happen.
Always got to
Right.
keep a lookout. Any of those skin diseases. Go see your doctor, your dermatologist.
Absolutely.
Get
Yep,
everything
always.
checked out to be safe.
That's right. Always go and talk to your doctor, especially if you've traveled overseas or spent quite a bit of time in areas where
That's a
you
very
might
good
see
point.
it. Yes.
Well, thanks for coming on in this morning. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yep,
Glad
thank
to
you.
be here.
And coming up, we have what's trending, including airlines.